I'm proud of you. In spite of your score, I don't care about that. I just want to like learn and move on. And also, I'm sure. Okay, so you're confused. You're confused about domain and range, or do you understand it? Here's your hint. Domain and range are describing things. Domain describes all the possible x values or input values if you're doing a word problem. Okay? Whereas your range, that's your y values, all your possible y values, or all your possible output values. Well, guess what? These are all alphabetical order. Domain before range, x before y, input before output. That's how I remember which one goes with which. I was confused about this most of my high school career. So all this is asking for is what are the x values? They're 3, 6, and 0. They just didn't write those twice because they're repeats. Okay. And then what's the range? 7, 6, -7, and 1. They didn't, but if you would have written them twice, I wouldn't have cared. Okay. All right. So, 5. Okay. So, what you do, that's a function. F of x is how you say that. It is a super fancy way to write y. They're the same thing, completely the same thing. A function is like a machine. You put a number into the machine and it spits you out an adjusted number. And the machine in this case is 20x plus 10ing that number. Now, look, in order for it to be a machine that works, in order for it to be a function, if you put in a 10 and it spits you out a 210, then if you put in a 10 later, it better also spit you out a 210. You can't put the same number in and have it spit you out a different answer at a different time, or it's not a function. We'll get into that later. Okay. Now, so for this, it might be easiest to just do it by hand. 20 times 4. So that's what it's saying. F of x contains x's. So for f of 4, take out the x and just put in a 4. So 20 times 4 is 80. 80 plus 10 is 90. Now, sometimes they might ask this, etc. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so if you ever get to where they ask for multiple points, go to your y equals, type it in, 20x plus 10. Here's your x up here. And then normally we look at the graph, but a really helpful thing is the table. There's all of your values, all of them, infinitely many of them. Well, not all of them, but all of them that you might want. So, like if you notice, what's f of 4? It's 90. Okay? So your calculator is a good way to get your hands dirty and start like learning what is going on here. I highly recommend you use it every day. And in case you're wondering why we use the calculator and not Desmos, you can use Desmos on all the tests that don't really matter that much. But if it matters, you can't use it. So like your college only graphing calculator. That's ACT, SAT. If you get to college and you take a math placement exam, graphing calculator, 2 thumbs up. Desmos, no way. Desmos is too powerful and it connects to the internet. It's basically the fastest way I can put it to you. Okay, so our slope equation is change in y over change in x. That's what delta means in engineering. It means change. So we find change in math by doing subtraction. So the most common mistake here is to put your x's on top because they come first. I've done that a million times. 4 minus 1 is 3. 5 minus 8 is -3. 3 divided by -3 is -1. So far, so good. Hmm. All right, number 4. Okay, let's see what you had. All right, so notice your answer is increasing your line, and this one is decreasing. But you did have the y-intercept right. So that means you know what you're doing with the y-intercept, but you got to pay very careful attention to the slope. Okay, so I will start by putting my y-intercept on there. Now, just remember that we're going down. This is not what we want our money market to look like. So as we go right, we're going down. So then just do that. Go right 1, go down 5, and then just connect those dots. Okay? You can also obviously graph this in your graphing calculator. Negative 5x plus 2. Maybe the graph doesn't help you that much, but what really will help you is this table, because you can just start putting the points on the graph and connecting them. Okay? All right, hey, good. You did some good things here. And once again, you forgot that the slope was negative, or you missed that part. So what we have here is m, x, and y. Okay? So then I always write down my equation first, and then what we don't have is b, and we need b. So let's find it. Y is 7, m is negative 9, x is negative 3. So you get 7 is positive 27 plus b. Subtract 27 from both sides, and you get b is negative 20. Yeah. So now we know what our m is. First of all, what are they asking for? Write the equation of the line in slope intercept form. So that's y equals mx plus b. Okay? So m is negative 9, b is negative 20, and that's what leads us to that equation. Okay? You feeling a little better about this quiz? Good. Use your graphing calculator. And I got one if you need to borrow it. Okay, so this one's coded. You do have yours or not? Good. Right, you're gonna. I'm gonna just really encourage you to learn how to use it. You can do what you want, but I'm promise I'm not here to make things more difficult. Life's hard enough as it is. Okay, so this is like a coded message. When lines are parallel, do you agree that they never touch? Okay, now what does that mean about their rate of change? At what rate are these lines changing? Yeah. How slopey are they? Well, I don't know, but they're both positive, right? And the slopes are the same. Do you know that? They're changing. Think about it. If you started out with $100 and I started out with $0 and we got the exact same job for the exact same pay and worked the exact same hours, I would never make more money than you. You would always have $100 more than me. In that scenario, it would be a positive slope. So let's design that out. We would have, well, first of all, we wouldn't have any need for negative numbers. Here's Mr. Yulin starting from the bottom, and I'm here. And then here's Mr. Bales starting up at 100, and we're both making $18 an hour and working the same shifts. So yours going up like that. I'm literally always going to be $100 behind you. If we both work 10 hours, you would be at $280. I would be at $180. I'd be $100 behind you. So parallel lines have the same slope. So we want the equation that has this x, this y, and that m. So we know x is 3, y is 7, M is 2. Now we just rock the y equals mx plus b. Because we don't know the b. Okay? That's exactly right. Okay? So now we know that our b is 1. We already knew that our m was 2. And that's how they got that. Almost done. I see you holding in your yawns, and I appreciate it. Hard to do this time of day. A lot easier to not get tired when you're talking all day, and I'm not blaming you. Just saying I go home and crash. As soon as I quiet down, I crash. Well, I think you could change that. Like you could go outside and do math. I'll come with you. Yeah, I mean, what you're not allowed to do is not do your math. It's about the only thing you're not allowed to do. So stop doing that. Stop not doing your math. All right, look. Here's our table. Now, let's see. G of x is 4 units up from f of x. Well, what that does is it adds 4. So this will be a 7. This will be a 2. This will be a negative 1. And this will be a positive 1. Okay? You see how we got that? Here's another way to think of it. Oh, let's see. Look at, there's our equation. Now let's add 4 to it. So negative 5x plus 2 plus 4. Look at our table. Oh, that's supposed to be this negative. Sorry. There you go. Look, this table is just always 4 units higher than the other one. Okay? So that's how you fill that table in. Good. Right, yeah. You're gonna like there's I want you to know that it took humans like 27,000 years of existence to figure this out. So I respect your desire to teach yourself, but I don't know if you'll get that done between now and May. So I would love to help fill in the gaps. All right, I'll send this to you. Good job.